Welcome to the Johnny Fongo. I'm Johnny Fongo. A little bit about the show. This is a show about sharing my research on the cannabis stock industry sector, particularly publicly traded companies. We're going to look at everything cannabis, THC, CBD, hemp, and everything in between. Some stories featured here will look at companies that are not publicly traded yet. Now, I am not a financial advisor. I am just a regular guy. Big fan of the plant, big fan of investing, big fan of trading, and a big fan of research. I hope you enjoy the information I share here. Any stock or company I talk about is not a recommendation to buy it. It is more a recommendation to learn more about the company if it fits into your strategy. With that being said, let's get to it. All right, we don't have a whole lot of headlines to look at yet this morning, but we'll run over a few from this morning and look at some from late last night that came in. First off, Vibe Growth Corporation announces the engagement of investor relations consultant. That comes through at 8:01 a.m. news file. Press release. High Tide opens its first cannabis retail store in Canmore, Alberta, and appoints chief operating officer. That comes through at 6 a.m. this morning on the Dow Jones. From last night, Afc Gamma prices initial public offering. That comes out at 5:52 p.m. last night from Globe Newswire. Sundial analyst, cannabis stock in a transition phase due to M&A potential cost-cutting efforts. That comes through at 4:28 p.m. from our friends at Benzinga. Hexo stock moves on quarter two results. Technical levels to watch. 2:26 p.m. from Benzinga. As lawmakers reintroduce the cannabis banking bill, analyst says it's the backup plan if Democrats cannot enact legalization. 2:21 p.m. Market Watch. All right. So that kind of gives us a little idea of some of the most recent headlines. It's not all of them, but it's some of the most interesting ones that I can see. Let's get started with Vibe Growth Corporation. Yes, Vibe Growth. Okay, on the OTC, you can find that ticker at VBSCF. On the Canadian Stock Exchange, you can find that at VIBE, Vibe. On the FSE, you can find it at A061. We're going to call in some help from our virtual friends here and discuss this story real quick.
Sacramento, California, Newsfile Corp., March 19, 2021, Vibe Growth Corporation, CSE, Vibe, OTC Pink, VBSCF, FSE, A061, the company, or Vibe, a vertically integrated California cannabis enterprise, is pleased to announce that it has entered into a consulting agreement with Venture North Capital Incorporated, Venture North, to provide investor relations, strategic marketing, and business consulting services. Venture North is a Toronto-based capital markets consulting firm specializing in executing strategic investor outreach campaigns. Mark Waldron, CEO of Vibe, commented, "This is a very exciting time for Vibe. We are well positioned to execute our growth strategy, expanding our retail dispensary portfolio and our cultivation assets across California to meet the increasing demand for our Vibe by California and Hype Cannabis Company products. We look forward to working with Venture North and introducing the Vibe story to the North American investment community." Pursuant to the terms of the consulting agreement, which has an initial term of 3 months, the company will pay a monthly cash fee of $7,500 and has agreed to issue 140,000 options to purchase common shares of the company, common shares, with an exercise price at $1.05. Of the options issued to Venture North, 35,000 shall vest immediately, and an additional 35,000 options will vest quarterly in arrears. The options will be subject to the terms of the company's stock option plan, and will vest in accordance with the provisions therein and the policies of the CSE. The appointment of Venture North as an investor relations consultant to the company and the granting of the options remain subject to regulatory acceptance of applicable filings with the CSE. About Vibe Growth Corporation. Vibe Growth Corporation and its cannabis retail brand, Vibe by California, is a trusted, vertically integrated California cannabis enterprise with retail dispensaries, cannabis greenhouse cultivation, premium indoor cultivation, commercial cannabis distribution, brand sales and marketing, e-commerce platform, home delivery, and Hype Cannabis Company marijuana and Vibe CBD products. In California, Vibe is focused on maximizing shareholder value through accelerating organic growth, opportunistic acquisitions, distressed workouts, and new license applications. The company operates retail and e-commerce under its iconic Vibe by California brand.
Okay, thank you very much, Aria. Interesting story. Got some exposure to California there, which is always a good thing. Okay, High Tide opens its first cannabis retail store in Canmore, Alberta, and appoints Chief Operating Officer. We're going to go to Guy for this one. He's going to explain this further for us.
High Tide opens its first cannabis retail store in Canmore, Alberta, and appoints Chief Operating Officer. Canada Newswire. Calgary, AB, March 19, 2021. Calgary, AB, March 19, 2021/CNW/ High Tide Incorporated, High Tide, or the company, TSXV, High Tide, OTCQB, HITIF, FRA, 2LY, a retail-focused cannabis corporation enhanced by the manufacturing and distribution of consumption accessories, announced that the Canna Cabana retail store located at 1702 Bow Valley Trail, in Canmore, Alberta, will begin selling recreational cannabis products for adult use today. This opening represents High Tide's 77th branded retail location across Canada selling recreational cannabis products and consumption accessories. Located 1 hour west of Calgary and only 5 minutes from the Banff National Park, the new Canmore store is strategically located within walking distance of several ski resorts and other tourist attractions. High Tide is also pleased to announce that it has promoted Aman Sood to the position of Chief Operating Officer of the company, effective March 15, 2021. Mr. Sood has been serving as Senior Director, IT and Retail Operations since transitioning to High Tide after the company's acquisition of Meta Growth. Mr. Sood is a seasoned leader with over 2 decades of experience in retail sector project management, operations, technology, and cost optimization. He has proven successes in new market identification and strategic positioning for companies of all sizes. Having led the building and management of 25 New Leaf cannabis locations, Mr. Sood is a pioneer in the legal market who specializes in spearheading operational improvements to reduce shrink, enhance productivity, increase sales, and drive efficiencies. The company has also approved the grant of 600,000 stock options for Mr. Sood to purchase common shares of High Tide as per the terms of the stock option plan. Along with our existing Banff location, the opening of this new Canmore store solidifies our presence within Alberta's Bow Valley region, which includes Banff National Park and the popular tourist hamlet of Lake Louise, said Raj Grover, President and Chief Executive Officer of High Tide. I am also very excited to announce the promotion of Mr. Sood, who has played a leading role in driving the successful integration of Meta Growth into the High Tide family. I look forward to Aman bringing his expertise in driving operational efficiencies into his new leadership role on our team, particularly as we aggressively pursue new acquisition targets, added Mr. Grover. Grant of stock options and restricted share units. The company also announces that its board of directors has approved a grant of 5 million stock options to purchase common shares of High Tide to certain officers and consultants. In addition, the company also announces that its board of directors has approved a grant of 1 million restricted share units, RSUs, to certain directors of the company pursuant to the company's restricted share unit plan. Each RSU entitles the holder to acquire 1 common share of the company upon vesting. About High Tide Incorporated. High Tide is a retail-focused cannabis company enhanced by the manufacturing and distribution of consumption accessories. The company is the largest Canadian retailer of recreational cannabis as measured by revenue, with 77 branded retail locations spanning Ontario, Alberta, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan. High Tide's retail segment features the Canna Cabana, Kush Bar, Meta Cannabis Company, Meta Cannabis Supply Company and New Leaf Cannabis banners, with additional locations under development across the country. High Tide has been serving consumers for over a decade through its numerous consumption accessory businesses, including e-commerce platforms GrassCity.com and CBDCity.com, and its wholesale distribution division under Valiant Distribution, including the licensed entertainment product manufacturer Famous Brands. High Tide's strategy as a parent company is to extend and strengthen its integrated value chain, while providing a complete customer experience and maximizing shareholder value. Key industry investors in High Tide include Afria Incorporated, TSX, APHA, NYSE, APHA, and Aurora Cannabis Incorporated, NYSE, ACB, TSX, ACB.
All right, thank you, Guy. Interesting story on High Tide. That ticker is HITIF on the OTCQB. On the TSXV, it is HITI. On the FRA, it is 2LY. Don't have a price on HITIF at the moment, but it's something to kind of keep on your watch list. Interesting story. Looks like I've got a lot of exposure in Canada. Next up, let's go and look at a story about AFC Gamma prices initial public offering. Now, from the story, it looks like the IPO is set for today, March 19th, 2021. The ticker symbol is going to be AFCG. We're going to let Mia take this one, and she's going to explain further about this story.
AFC Gamma Incorporated, AFC Gamma, or the company, a commercial real estate finance company that provides loans to operators in the cannabis industry, today announced the pricing of its initial public offering of 6,250,000 shares of its common stock at a public offering price of $19 per share. In addition, AFC Gamma has granted the underwriters a 30-day option to purchase up to an additional 937,500 shares of common stock at the initial public offering price, less underwriting discounts and commissions. The company's common stock is expected to begin trading on the Nasdaq Global Market on March 19, 2021 under the ticker symbol AFCG. AFC Gamma anticipates total gross proceeds of approximately $118.8 million, before deducting underwriting discounts and commissions and other offering expenses, and excluding any exercise of the underwriter's option to purchase additional shares. AFC Gamma intends to use the net proceeds from the offering to fund loans related to unfunded commitments to existing borrowers, originate and participate in additional commercial loans, repay borrowings that are outstanding under its revolving credit facility at consummation of the offering, if any, as well as for working capital and other general corporate purposes. The offering is expected to close on or about March 23, 2021, subject to the satisfaction of customary closing conditions. About AFC Gamma. AFC Gamma is a commercial real estate finance company that provides a range of lending solutions to established operators in the cannabis industry. AFC Gamma originates, structures, underwrites, and manages senior secured loans and other types of loan solutions in states that have legalized medicinal and/or adult-use cannabis. The company intends to elect and qualify to be taxed as a real estate investment trust, commencing with its taxable year ending December 31, 2020.
Okay, thank you, Mia. It's an interesting story. We'll be looking at AFCG in the future and seeing where it goes. Next up, we're going to look at a story about Sundial.
Sundial analyst, Cannabis Stock in a transition phase, due to M&A potential, cost-cutting efforts. 3/18/21 4:28 p.m. Eastern Time, Benzinga print. Shares of Sundial Growers Incorporated in Nasdaq, SNDL took a tumble Thursday despite the Calgary, Canada-based cannabis company reporting fourth-quarter sales of $13.9 million, exceeding